Well, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. I don't even know if I'm live yet, but I'm behaving as if I am. And why, there we are. Now I'm live. Yes. Good evening, everybody. Or wherever you are in the world, good morning. I think it's morning in Australia. I'm not sure where it is in the Far East. I'm not sure of the time differences. Anyway, why don't you all let me know when you're coming to the chat room, when you're participating with us? Let us know what time it is wherever you are. I know that in England, let's see, it's like 1 in the morning, so 1:15 or something in the morning. Here in, well, it's not actually sunny Florida because it's been storming all day and raining all day. But here in Florida, it's 8:15, I do believe, or 8:20, something like that. So before we begin, first of all, I'd like to welcome Great Eagle, who is, as always, to my right side. And I'd like to say welcome to Chris. Hi, Chris.
Good evening, Rosemary and everyone.
So how are you? How have you been today, Chris?
I've been quite busy. It seems like going from one phone call to the next, to the next, to the next.
I know exactly how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. I had a new door put in yesterday. I should be so pleased when the workmen have gone. I should be so pleased when I get my house back again. However, let me see. It's only going to last a few days because, like everybody else, summer is here, I think. I don't know if the official date for summer has been and gone yet, but I know that summer is here. Uh, my daughter called me from New York City today to tell me that it was 90 something degrees in New York. I can't imagine it. I mean, it's often 90 some degrees in Florida, but we've got the ocean breezes and we've got the winds blowing off of the water, and it's so nice here. Um, in New York City, all that heat is trapped within the buildings, isn't it? So it's got to be stifling. Um, so anyway, let's see what's been going on. Oh, my daughter called me yesterday. She's got the most enormous thing on her face. She had to go today to Long Island to have it scraped out and drained. They don't quite know what it is. It looks like a bite of some kind or a nasty big boil, and it's not on a tooth, it's on a cheek. It's the weirdest thing. She said she felt a little bite, possibly a mosquito bite, but it's obviously got infected. Oh, oh, the pictures are awful. You should see what they did to her. They scooped it all out and they put a big fat thing drain in and they packed her cheek, and poor little thing, she's been in agony. That's my tale for today. So anyone out there who'd like to send my daughter some healing, of course we would welcome it. Let's see what other exciting news I've got to tell you. Not a lot. I'm getting ready for my summer vacation. I will be working. I know most people don't work during the vacation, but I shall be working anyway. But I shall be off to New York City for a couple of months to spend time with my daughter and with my grandson, and I'm getting very excited about it. As I've said, I'll still be working from there, so you'll still see us, we'll still be around. But you know, I was thinking about vacations, I was thinking about holiday times, and I was thinking it is a time to slow down, it is a time to relax, it is a time to sort of chill out. But I also like to think that it's a time when, we can think about things, we can regroup, we can center ourselves, we can take time for the meditations that we never have time for, we can take time for those thoughts which have to do with our loved ones in the spirit world. It's a time of refreshing. On our computers we have that refresh button, and we press it and everything sort of, whatever it does, it gets refreshed. And I think that vacations, even if you're only going on a day trip here or there, or even if you just go to the park for half a day, I think it's a time when we should be refreshed. But I think it's also a time when we should be refreshed on a spiritual level. So I'm going to be working. I'm going to be looking at the Grey Eagle book, Grey Eagle Speaks. We'll be doing a lot of that over the summertime if my grandson lets me do it. If he gives me time to do it, I shall be working with that. And just reading Grey Eagle's words and just listening to Grey Eagle, I know that I'm going to have a very spiritually refreshed time. So, Chris, I know it's difficult for you right now. You've got so much to plan and so much to sort out and so much to get to 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 sort of get going in your life, many changes. But will you take some time for the summer?
I will. I have a sister who just surprised me yesterday, and she sent me first class tickets to fly out to Las Vegas on Friday just so I could be with them and instead of being by myself in the apartment, which I thought was super nice of her. And I'm sure that'll give me plenty of time to sit and think
Well,
about
super
things.
nice is an understatement. Wow, what a sister you have! First class tickets to Los Angeles. She didn't
No,
offer to.
to
She didn't
Las
offer to get me a
Vegas.
ticket, did she?
I should mention it, Rosemary. I'm sure. I mean, she's a physician, works in a neonatal unit, so takes care of the preemie babies, and she also started a respite program out there in Las Vegas to take care of the kids who, were born with challenges. So, you
Well,
think of tomorrow's children, that would be a group to go out and talk to the
yeah, sounds
parents.
like something that I would enjoy doing. But I'm sure, Chris, that you could lend your healing skills and it's Las Vegas, not Los Angeles. I think I said Los Angeles, didn't I? Las Vegas. So and doesn't she live on a farm or a type of a farm? What's that
She
about?
does. They raise miniature donkeys. They
Mm.
have their chickens, couple of Dalmatians, 3 different types of horses, cats. Trying to think if I missed anything. So
Are,
what
are
I
you are you sure this is a respite?
it will be. I'll get up with my brother-in-law and I'll go out and help muck the stalls and feed the donkeys and collect the eggs, and that'll be a nice way to start the day.
Oh, won't it just? Won't it just? And I can give you some great recipes for eggs. Uh, eggs. Let me see. Eggs a la rosemary. We'll have to think of some great recipes for you. That sounds like fun. Okay, so what have you been doing? Well, I bet you've been packing, right? We have a friend who's been moving, and in fact, just moved today or completed the move today. It seems like so many people that we know have got so many activities going on. We've got another friend who has nowhere to live. Eric, we are working on that for you. We are helping you with as much as we can. We know that you're not going to be homeless. Um, Somebody else I was talking to today is also uh, potentially homeless. What must it be like to be homeless? What must it be like to be without a place to call your own, without a place that you can lay your head at night? And we know that there are so many people who are in that situation. So, maybe we could think about them a little bit today too. We're talking about vacations. I just mentioned I've got a new front door. I mean, so many people don't have homes, don't have houses, don't have apartments. Um, I just want to get rid of the workmen. I know that there are so many people who would love to have that problem, because it would mean having that problem would mean that they do have a place to rest their heads. So, as we're talking about these things, I think as well as counting our own blessings, as well as counting the blessings that we have, I think it's also important that we remember those who are less fortunate than ourselves, and to send out our prayers and our thoughts to those people too.
Absolutely.
So, Chris, do we have any? Wait. Sorry. Is there anybody there?
We definitely have plenty of people here, Rosemary. So if I'll go back to the top of the chat room where you were asking where people were from. So Caddy's on from the Florida Keys. Fiona. Fiona's on from New Zealand, where it was at that time 12:30 in the afternoon. Carla's on from somewhere in Florida. And then Maggie's happy that you surprised by coming on. The Starshine
This is
on.
our off the cuff stuff, right, Chris? We pop
Yes.
in whenever we feel like it. Sorry, go ahead. Starshine.
Starshine's on. Maggie's saying it's hot as heck here. And Kevin's out in Hawaii, where it was roughly 2:30 in the afternoon there. Jane's on from southern Indiana. Ruby's on from Kauai.
Hold on, we've got two people from Hawaii?
Yes.
Oh, wow, nice. Well, you know, I'm trying to think. I've only been to Hawaii one time. But we were fortunate. Talk about somebody giving you a trip. We had this wonderful person who not only gave me a trip, first class tickets for myself and my daughter. This is before Reese was born. But we had, I think, 5 tickets, right, Chris?
Yes.
Five tickets were gifted to me to bring whoever I wanted. Chris, do you want to say anything about that?
I was one of the lucky recipients. Boy, that was something. That was the first time ever I flew first class. That was stunning.
Can you remember where we went in Hawaii?
We were on the big island, Oahu. We were in Kauai. We were in Maui. We were on, what's that little tiny island? Where they had the home and the pineapple plantation.
With the beach and everything and the.
Yeah.
Well, we found the stray dog.
Yes.
What was
I don't know
the
why
name
it's
of
not
that
coming
island?
to me.
Oh, it's not coming to me either. But we went to 5 different islands when we were there, and we really did have a blast. And the thing that I loved the most about Hawaii was the people. They are amazing, really welcoming, beautiful people, very giving, willing to share their homes, willing to share their lives, their culture. We had a blast, didn't we, Chris? We really did have. We were treated super duper nice.
Yes, like royalty. Was it Molokai?
Yes, Molokai. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right. But there's another one I think that you didn't mention, and it's come to me. You know where it was, Chris? Which was the place where you see, you find out all these things, don't you? Where we stayed on one of the islands, we stayed in a beach house, and apparently Obama and all of his people rented the 2 beach houses, one for him and his family, and another one for all of his security and his staff on this beach. And I wonder if the government paid for that. I wonder if the taxpayer paid for that. I do believe that they might have done. But anyway.
That was on the Big Island. Yep.
Was that on the Big Island? Yeah. Yep. Beautiful
I'm sorry,
place.
Oahu. Oahu.
Yeah. Beautiful place. But anyway. All right. No more politics. We're not talking politics on this show. All right. All right. So, do we have anybody wanting to talk to us about anything at all? Because I think we should do some of that. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, well, Mark is on. We're glad to hear back from him after his visit to the hospital. So he's saying he's in Central Time, so they're 2 hours behind us. My niece Carol is here with me in Tulsa. She's from Western Massachusetts. I'm doing better from the hospital.
Good.
My fur son, Gage, fell very, very sick and needs some major, major healing from the inside out.
And we'll do that. We'll send our healing.
And then he's on vacation and found out the skin cancer has returned. Do I worry? All this has come to pass? Some then no. I'm hoping Gray Eagle has words of encouragement as you do. My spirit guide and angel, I'm certain, have been super busy, laughing from the inside with love.
Mark, do everything the doctors tell you to do. Get it sorted out straight away, and you're going to be fine. Um, try not to worry too much. No point saying don't worry, but try not to worry too much. Uh, and please keep us posted on how you get on. Chris.
Chris is on saying, my last day of work is tomorrow. No more being exploited. I'm giving a superb exit interview. Having the summer off too, and I'll be volunteering with the summer free lunch for kids program twice a week.
Oh, I like it. I like that, Chris. Good for you. I wonder what you're going to say in your last day. Are you going to give a speech? I love that you come in. What did she say when the first thing she said was no more what, Chris?
Being exploited.
Yeah, no more being exploited. I love that. I really love that. Well, I think you're very brave. And I think you'll also do very well. And tell us more about the kids program. I'd like to know more about that. Anything at all that I can do for kids, I try to do. Um, any charity that is kids based, I try to support. I'm a big supporter of St. Jude's. Um, One of the reasons I love St. Jude's is because you don't, whether you can afford them or whether you can't afford them, they take you in, and they take care of their children, they take care of their patients so well, and they don't even have to pay a bill if they can't afford it. They don't have to pay it, which is amazing. Now, people who happen to be up and listening to this, who are in the UK, are saying, "What is she talking about? They don't have to pay." Um, well, as most people on this planet know, um, if you don't have insurance in this country, in the United States, um, well, you're not always treated the best, and you're certainly treated as a second class citizen in a lot of places. There are doctors though who do their very best, even for people who can't afford it. But to buy insurance and to keep your insurance going can be a nightmare, especially for people who have children, and especially for people who have two or three children. It just is so worrisome. I always feel, when somebody tells you that they're not well or their kids are not well, it's so worrisome, because the very first thing in the United States that we have to do, um, even before we call 911 to get an ambulance, or even before we go to the hospital, is that we have to check our insurance, and to make sure that the hospital isn't going to bill us $800 just to put our nose in the door, which recently happened to someone I know very, very well, very well. It recently happened in New York City that you put your nose through the door and you're automatically going to be, sign this form. Don't sign the form, because otherwise you're going to have to end up, before you even see a doctor, before you even see a nurse, you're going to have to be charged. It's I wish that we could do something to change it, and politicians tell us they're going to change it all the time, and we've got Obamacare, which collapsed and isn't working well, and we've got so many different programs that also don't work that well. Oh golly, I'm on a roll here. I just really do, I don't understand why we can do it in the UK, why they can do it in France, why they can do it in Canada, and they can't do it in the US. I mean, come on, people. You know, everybody in this country, every politician, every doctor, every nurse, we all can be creative. So if we all put our heads together and worked at it, I'm sure we could come up with a creative way of being able to help those people who cannot afford to help themselves. What do you say, Chris?
I think there's some pockets of places in the United States that are actually doing that. I know in Vermont, we're very good at doing that. But certainly that does not cut across the whole of the United States.
I did say I know some people to do help in that way, and there are pockets, little pockets here and there where people can get help, but they are, first of all, very few, Second of all, not nearly enough. And third of all, I mean, there's something really terrible about people having to beg or to put themselves under the microscope to make sure that they don't have enough money. I mean, it is, it's so it's debilitating for people to have to go through hoops in order to prove that they can't afford. Um, on the other hand, of course, we have those people who take advantage of the system, and even though they can afford, somehow manage to get what they are not entitled to. So, moving on from this, oh gosh, I hope I haven't started a firestorm of people now making comments. Um, why don't we have some questions of comments now, Chris?
Yeah,
Before I
Annie's
say too much.
okay. Annie's saying, I'm losing hope. After my dad passed, I moved in with my mom and rented my apartment. But now this is the tenant from hell. Rosemary, do you see this calming down, please?
Gregel has his hand on my shoulder. Um, uh, hmm, well, I have, through someone else very close to me, experienced this tenant from hell business. You too have rights. Um, don't forget, that little word no works really, really well. Although, because sometimes people, they sense that you're afraid to say no to them, they sense that you're afraid to make a wrong move. Um, my advice to you is get some advice. Go get some advice, even if it costs you a little bit. Just go get some advice and see if you can't get this person out. In the meantime, why don't we put your name down on our healing lesson? Let's see what the spirit world can do for you. Be patient though, it might take a little while. Chris.
Starshine says, I have a brother that is homeless. He's been on the streets for years.
Sometimes it's a choice. My daughter has a very good friend, or let's say someone who used to be a very, very good friend, but in fact she lost touch with him. Um, this person has come to dinner at my house a few times when I was in Vermont. Bright, smart, uh, creative, amazing guy. And for whatever reason he actually chose to be on the streets. And I know that a lot of his friends have tried to help him. A lot of his friends have tried to sort of, offer him support or company or whatever, but he actually chooses to be on the streets. I'm not quite sure of the whys and wherefores of it, but some people choose to be on the streets. But whether people choose to be on the streets or whether they're forced onto the streets, um, it's very, very hard on the family. It's very difficult for the family. And, many people are forced onto the street because their family have washed their hands of them. I don't think that's the case here. I think, you must worry about your brother tremendously. Um, there are people on the streets who beg, and I see it all the time. And what I do is I try not to give money, but to buy a sandwich, or that I found someone a few weeks ago. I was coming out of McDonald's just with a Diet Coke, and as I was coming out of the entrance there was a guy with a placard on saying that he was homeless. He got 5 kids, and who knows whether or not he really does have 5 kids. But I turned right back around, went to the window. I was with a friend of mine. We bought him big burger, fries, full meal, and a Coke, and handed it out the window to him. He was the beam on his face. He was so pleased. He was so happy, and I was happy that we could do it for him. There are lots of things that we can do. I know that giving money is not always a good idea, but there's a lot of things that we who are just, let's say, the bystanders. We see something going on, but we don't necessarily know what to do. Going and getting a burger is is one good way. Although I've also seen it where someone you give someone a sandwich and they throw it at your feet. What are you giving me that for? I want money. I don't want a sandwich. I want money. Then you know that thank goodness you didn't waste your money by giving it to him so they could get drugs or alcohol or whatever it is. It's very hard, isn't it? It's very hard to know what to do. But you know, let's if you could send us the name of your brother, we'd love to put him on our healing list, whether or not he chose to be there. I still think that you know, our prayers won't go amiss, will they? I'm hoping not. I'm sure they don't go amiss. So let's all of us sort of set our minds to, again, those who are less fortunate than we are. Chris.
Annie says, I went to Hawaii on my honeymoon. The marriage didn't last, but Hawaii was great.
Oh, I'm sorry that the marriage didn't last, but I bet the memories were great, right? The memories of the islands, the memories of the people. Yes. Chris.
Carol says, oh my, I may be put out. I'm very, very concerned. I'm doing my homework to find a worthy facility to work out of, but if myself and my border dog are put out, ...
Carol, try not to worry too much, my darling. Oh, in these moments, these tough moments, it is so hard to live our faith. We can have faith, we can say that we believe in God, but living our faith and trusting that whatever happens is the right thing. So I'm asking you, please, we're putting you down in our little book where I'm asking you to please trust, my darling. I just feel that it might be tough right now, but I think it's going to be a better situation. I do not know how people live doing this to other people. So let me just say that too. You know, I know a little bit of your situation, and it's disgusting to me that someone should actually throw someone out on their ear knowing perfectly well they've nowhere else to go. So, my darling, we're thinking of you, absolutely. Please keep us informed. Let us know, you know, let us know what's going on with you. If you are struggling, and this is not just for you, Carol, but for anybody out there, the Salvation Army is your salvation. So you could always go to the Salvation Army or your nearest church or your nearest community center and tell them what's going on with you. And you know, and none of us likes to beg. None of us likes to ask for help. And it is, again, I said it earlier, it's very debilitating. Um, you know, I can remember a few years ago, and I had no money. My daughter and I were living hand to mouth, and I would feed her and hope that she would leave some of what she was eating because it was the only way I was going to get fed that day. And sometimes she ate it all up, and sometimes she didn't. So sometimes I was fed, and sometimes I wasn't. And I remember she came home from school crying because she was at a new school, and she didn't have a school uniform. And to her, it seemed that all the other kids in the school had a uniform, but her. She came home sobbing and sobbing. At which point, my pride took second, third, or fifth place down the line there. Sometimes you do things for your kids that you would never do for yourself. But I remember picking up the phone and calling a charity. To my absolute horror, the next day I got a phone call from one of my closest friends who lived just down the street from me. And unbeknownst to me, she was the secretary of this charity that I'd called. And I particularly found a charity that was not in our area, or so I thought. The next day, she came to visit me with the friend of hers who actually ran the charity, the chairman who ran the charity. And gosh, it was awful. It was awful. For the first time in my life, I felt that I was having to beg. I would never have done it for myself, but certainly for my child. However, since that time, I've learned that we should do it for ourselves because, Carol, you've got a little puppy there. You've got to pay attention to yourself. You've got to keep yourself safe in order to keep the puppy safe. So that's a good reason why you need to ask for help. There are other people out there who need help. Please do it for yourselves, because when you do it for yourself and you have help and you feel, that you can be stronger for that help, then you can turn around and help others. But if you are down and out and nowhere to go, you can't help anybody. So please, please, I know what it feels like to ask for charity. It is not nice in any circumstances. If you're a proud person or if you're someone who's never had to do it before, I know what I'm talking about. Please, please go visit the Salvation Army or go to your local church and just tell them what's going on. Someone somewhere is going to help you. I'm pretty sure of it. Chris.
Marcia says, I'm in Florida and I wonder how my daughter is doing.
Well, right now, we're doing off the cuff. So right now we're not going to do any of that, but you could try us on Thursday, or you could go to our website and see what happens there, because we are doing our webinar on the 20, what is it, Chris? The 24th of July or something? 21st
Yeah,
or
that's
the 24th,
yes,
something
July
like that.
24th. Yeah.
If you go to the website, you'll find out all about it, and you can check out there. We will be giving messages for 3 solid hours. I shall be giving messages with Gregor and talking to people in the spirit world. And we're going to be having a lot of fun. But right now we're doing off the cuff, and let's see what else happens here, Chris.
Yes, Carla is asking, do you have any advice on healing family relationships?
I have a ton of advice on healing family relationships. A ton of advice. We've been talking about pride, and pride getting in the way. Pride gets in the way, especially with family. And there's so much, jealousy within families. There's so much, backbiting within families. Families who should be the closest and the most loving to each other are very often, they very often struggle. It sounds to me that you maybe need the bottom brick exercise. You might like to volunteer for it. We are going to be doing more bottom bricks. If you want to know what I'm talking about, what are you talking about, bottom brick? We're going to be doing a bottom brick exercise tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. I think it is, Chris, 4 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. So you all have to figure that out. We have had 4 people so far do the bottom brick exercise, and we are now revisiting them tomorrow. If you want to know more about that, or what was she talking about, the bottom brick? What are we talking about? Well, join us tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Rosemary,
Florida time.
we're going to do a Zoom taping with just the bottom brickers, and then we will put it on social media, because it's hard to do on Restream with that many people.
Oh, so sorry. So I've got it wrong then. So we're not doing it live tomorrow, but we are getting together some of our bottom brickers, as they like to be called, and we should be then, when it's recorded, we should be putting it out so it'll go live to tape. In other words, we won't mess about with it. What you see is what you get. We won't doctor it or edit it, and we shall then put it out. We shall let you know. So keep checking our website, rosemaryaltea.com, or if you are a subscriber, you'll get a newsletter, and that'll let you know when it's coming out. But it will certainly be coming out within the next week or so, I think, Chris, wouldn't you say?
Probably within 24 hours.
There you are then. So look, everyone, I keep warning you, I'm going to be popping in and out. So, that'll be up there for you to see. If you are a subscriber, that means you're an insider. Inside subscribe. It means that you get that inside information probably before anybody else does. Chris.
Cheryl's saying good evening from Charleston, South Carolina.
Hi.
And
Hi,
Holly's
Cheryl.
saying hello to Rosemary Gray Eagle from Holly in Toronto.
Wow, we've got Toronto, we've got New Zealand, we've got people from all over the place. Let's keep going, shall we, Chris?
Yeah, Chris says, I think you have way too many states there, meaning United States. You cannot become cohesive on many issues, one being healthcare. I worked the weekend night shift at our local shelter. Housing is healthcare. Food is medicine.
You are absolutely right. Housing is healthcare, food is medicine. You're absolutely right. But here's the thing about all of these many states and not being cohesive, as you say. Each state has its own governor. Each state has its own laws and rules. Each state is ruled as if it's its own little country. So, uh, you know, if each state were to get together and to sort out their own state, they'd find so many people supportive of them. And we're not asking necessarily for the entire country. Yes, there are too many states, if you put it that way. We're not asking for the entire country, but it's got to start somewhere. So, and if it starts, but it starts slowly, that's also okay. If a few states were to do this and show that it worked within states, within the inner state, so to speak, then other people would be more encouraged, most encouraged to do it. I don't think it's an impossible task. I just think that there are not enough people who want to do it. I mean, it's like it's like the drug companies. Well, gosh, we're getting into politics again here. It's like the like the drug companies. I mean, how come you can get drugs in other countries, the same drug that is much cheaper there than it is here? I don't get it. And drug companies make far too much money. And there's an argument to be said for, well, they have to pay for research. Yeah, there's plenty for research. They're still making far too much money. And there are too many politicians getting the benefit from that. Let's not go any more into politics. I'm done with politics. Chris.
Starshine says, talking about people who are homeless or on the street, my grandson keeps snacks in his mother's truck for homeless persons. Then they might, in case they might drive by someone.
That's nice. I do know somebody who actually keeps blankets in his car. He buys sort of inexpensive blankets, or if he goes to a Goodwill store, or if he'll sort of buy stuff, wash them, and keep them in his car and hand those out whenever he can. There are lots of different things we can do, but I love the fact that your grandson does that. It really gives us hope, doesn't it? Chris.
I see a lot of stories on the internet about kids leading the way with that sort of thing. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, me too.
It's too bad it has to be the kid leading the way, though.
Well, remember, let's be clear. Kids are very much influenced by their peers, from that, but well, not just their peers, but by the grown-ups in their lives, by what's on TV, by what's in the news. Kids are very influenced by these things, and it's up to us as adults to influence our children into doing things that are good and kind and useful and beneficial to others.
When our youngest son was probably, I want to think, 8 years old, we've been big supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we would volunteer for pretty much every event they had. And I found as we were, trying to raffle off tickets or what have you, people would go by me because I was the adult and they'd sort of walk right by. But our youngest would walk up to them and said, would you buy a ticket? And then they'd ask him what the ticket was for. And he'd come back exactly what it was for. and he got that sale. So there is something about kids leading the way in that sense too. Who can say no to a cute little kid?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, keep these comments and stuff. Keep all this stuff, the off the cuff stuff. Keep it coming, Chris. Keep the
So
off the cuff stuff coming.
Mark is saying, I follow my gut hunch about all the things I do. One bitter cold winter before the holidays several years ago, I was at a Quick Trip Market gas station and was going to buy a lotto ticket. As I walked toward the door, I saw a very unkempt old man wearing a very filthy coat and hat, who in my heart's opinion was homeless. I took cash out of my pocket to buy the lotto, and I had a 5 that came out of my pocket first. I walked to the gent and said, Merry Christmas, and walked in. I bought the ticket, walked out to my car, and this man called me. And I turned back, and he approached me and he said, You made my day. I'm so thankful. And I said, God bless, keep warm.
Oh, Mark, that's a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Chris.
Marcia said, okay, I need to watch. I never saw you at work for that. Thanks. And I'm not really sure what that's applying towards. So Marcia might have to tell us more.
Marcia, you're going to have to explain that to us because we don't get it. So come on, get down there. Explain it to us so we can understand it, please. Keep going, Chris.
Starshine saying, I think I might benefit from the bottom brick exercise.
Well, we're looking for volunteers. So we're going to be doing more of that. We've done 4 bottom brickers so far. We did it during the month of May, and without exception, every single one of those 4 bottom brickers has come back to us excited and inspired. And tomorrow, when we do the Zoom thing with them, we're going to be asking them what they feel have benefited from it and what was probably the most beneficial thing for them when they did this bottom brick exercise. It really is a very powerful exercise, and it really does work. It's that one way of us being able to open our eyes and to see very, very clearly. Somebody actually told me today, for some reason, very, very surprised by me, in fact, said, well, this wasn't what I expected. And when I asked, what are you talking about? What did you expect? Well, past lives. And, I thought you were going to tell me stuff that, I don't know what she meant really, past lives and maybe reasons why people behave the way they do, having to do with past lives. And she said, but you were so practical. And I said, yes, I'm a feet on the ground kind of a person. I'm extremely practical, and I find out what's going on through Grey Eagle, through those in the spirit world, and then we give you practical help and advice. I probably could have gotten away with talking about all the past lives, using them as excuses for our behavior, except I don't buy it. I don't buy into it. I don't believe it for a second. I had this guy years ago. I was in Hong Kong, and he sort of, he came in. He was very tall guy, and he had his shoulders were bent, naturally bent over. When I say naturally, he sort of had this stoop. And he proceeded to tell me that he'd got, I can't remember now, 6 angels around him at all times. I'm thinking, wow, so angels have nothing better to do than follow you around, even though you're not necessarily doing anything particular. But he told me he got all of these angels that were around him. And
No, we cannot hear you, Rosemary. So maybe log in and log out. Hi, everyone. We'll give her a second to log in and log out. It must be somebody rang in, even though she has the the stop on there.
I'm just going to, can you see me?
I can, and we can hear you.
Okay, give me 1 second. I just have to call my daughter so she doesn't call me again. Hi. I'm on my show. I'll see you in a minute. Poor girl's looking at me like her face is all swollen up. She's got a big fat thing on her face. Yes, so what was I saying? So this young man is telling me that he's got all these angels around him, and that the reason he has a back trouble, he was telling me how bad his back was and so on, is because as a Roman centurion in some however many past lives we went back, I can't remember how many, he was trampled in battle on the battlefield, and so every life that he's ever had since then, he's suffered with his back. You see, I'm a very practical person. It doesn't wash with me. So I said to him, as kindly and as gently as I could, but as firmly as I could, when I'm not sure that, you have the angels, and maybe you do and maybe you don't. I didn't see them, by the way, but that doesn't mean they weren't there. But I said, I can tell you absolutely the reason that you've got back trouble is because you've got really awful posture. You need to exercise, and you need to strengthen your back, and you need to correct your posture. And I'll guarantee you that being a Roman centurion, however many lifetimes ago, has got nothing to do with what's going on with you now. So this person who I spoke to today was quite stunned by the fact that I was a very practical person, gave very practical and sane and sensible advice, which they then, this person actually said to me, I feel as if a burden is lifted from my shoulders. I now have a plan and I know what I need to do. So practicality is my middle name. Chris.
All right. So Carol had written while you were talking, Rosemary, about her situation. And she said, I went through this 2.5 years ago upon my first return to Arizona. It was winter, and my Gustel would die of heat if she gets booted right now. Wondering, because my dog is my best friend, does Gray Eagle have anything to say to me?
Be strong, my darling, and trust and have faith. It will work out. That's what he says to you. From him from me to you.
All right. Chris is saying you are absolutely right. State by state. Why wouldn't you? I also work for a pharma. You keep hitting on all of my work lives, LOL.
Oh, good. Yes, and why wouldn't we do it state by state? Oh, probably because nobody wants to be the first state to do it. Just imagine if 2 or 3 states got together, figured it out, absolutely got great healthcare for people without them having to pay a fortune, or even, in fact, very little. Well, then what would the government say? Well, it's working in these 3 states, so why wouldn't it work in the rest? Yeah, come on. We need some people to give us some examples of how it can work, what we can do, not what we can't do.
Well, believe it or not, there are government institutions right now doing that. I can tell you, because I used to work in the health department in the state of Vermont. They have, I think it's the Robert Woods Foundation gives out money to have certain surveys done, and they try to come up with best practices to say, all right, in your little state of Vermont, who has counties but doesn't operate as a county government, you've been able to do X, Y, and Z, and we really like this. And then they use that example and they try to bring it into larger states. But if you think of, let's say, New York City, who probably in one borough is 3 or 4 times what we have in the whole state of Vermont, it's all the politics and the egos and the insurance companies, and they all have to have this piece of the pie, and to get them all to talk, that's the tough part.
Yes, but Chris, here's the thing. I'm tired of the excuses. I know what you're saying is right. I agree with most of what you're saying, but If one little state can do it, then every state can do it. So come on. No more excuses, all of you out there in charge. We want to see some action. We want to see something working. Government is for the people, but there are so many people in this country who are so suffering because they cannot get proper healthcare. Because guess what? They don't have jobs. They don't have jobs that earn enough money, or they might have a job that earns money, but they have too many kids. Oh my goodness, you know. Come on, everybody. I mean, somebody has to have a solution somewhere. Moving on.
Holly says, with reference to asking for help, it is very hard. Very often, help is within asking, and no one would ever know that you are in need of it. Please ask and don't give up if it doesn't work first time. Find another group that offers help. I too have had nothing to eat, and you can appear fully together and working and on top of things in the middle of a busy city and yet struggling. And small gestures of kindness make so much of a difference.
Holly, I'm glad that you said that. If it doesn't work with one group, try another group. Please don't give up. All of you out there who need help, all of you out there who are too proud, too afraid, too embarrassed. I've been there. I know what it's like. But please, you know, step over the burden of pride, step over the burden of embarrassment, step over those things, and just please hold your hand out and say help. Because if you don't find it in one place, you will, if you persevere, find it in another. Chris.
Carol says, my husband Paul and I fed so many people from the horse race tracks and people not on the track. One young lady actually went home to be reunited with her family due to us merely feeding her and listening.
Well, Carol, I've always known that you were a special person, and you know, and you are. And I promise that even though it doesn't feel like it now, God will take care of you. I do feel that strongly. Chris.
Chris is saying, you hate the past live stuff. And let me continue with that. And I'm still interested in that. And I'm probably the very most practical person you will or have ever met.
Well, I don't know about that because I think I'm the most practical person. I don't hate the past life stuff at all. I hate the way people use it as excuses for instance, my story, bad posture. For instance, you know, I can't get a job because, well, this chauffeur of mine's too comfortable. I know that doesn't apply to a lot of people. Don't think that I'm uh, saying that everybody who doesn't have a job doesn't have a reason, because that's not what I'm saying. I don't hate past life stuff. I just hate the way that very often it is used as an excuse, or as a way of you know, sort of as building our lives around it. Uh, you know, we have to we have to understand that there are more things on heaven and earth than we can possibly understand. And I am not saying that there are no past lives. If you read my book, I think it was In the Eagle and the Rose. If you read one of my books anyway, I tell the story about when I went astral traveling, and I was walking through the streets of an old Victorian city, and saw my name, my maiden name, up above a store. Um, it really shook me. Does that mean that I was at some point, did I own a store? At some point, did I do that in a past life? Here's the thing, whether or not it happened is very interesting. It's a very interesting fact. Does it define me? Absolutely not. Am I going to allow it to define me? Absolutely not. I'm going to take the life that I have now and then make the most of the life that I have now. If there were past lives, a past life, whatever, I'm hoping that through those experiences, I become stronger. I become more spiritually aware and more spiritually sort of centered, let's say. But I'm not going to let my past lives define me. And they shouldn't. I believe that they shouldn't. So I don't hate the past life stuff. I hate the way that people use it. Chris.
That is the last comment, Rosemary. We're coming up to the top of the hour.
We can't be. Well, oh gosh, maybe we are. Was that the last comment? Are we done?
It seems so, unless you type something in quick.
Yeah, come on, everybody, because otherwise we're quitting. I think we've got maybe 5 to 10 minutes now. So, what are you all going to do? Come on, use this 5 to 10 minutes that we've got left here. If this seems to have gone, this hour seems to have gone so fast, right, Chris?
Yeah, Rhonda just said, my son Mark was put on your healing book for alcoholism. He went into a rehab facility on Friday. Thank you to all those healing prayers. Please continue praying and sending healing.
Rhonda, we will absolutely do that. And by the way, if any of you have somebody or you yourselves are on our healing list, please, from time to time, give us an update on how you're doing, will you? And Rhonda, please just, keep us posted on your son. Let us know how he's doing. We do like to hear, um, whether it's working, whether it's not working, you know. And who are we to say if something's working or not working? Because we can't always see the mysteries, can we? We can't always see the mysterious hand of God as it's weaving its way through our lives. Chris.
Marcia says, I agree. Live in the moment. That last life was then. Live in the now. Perfect. Don't let the past define who you are now.
Right.
I look forward to more of these chats. Good night, friends.
Oh, thank you, Martha. We look forward to more of these chats too. Any more, Chris, before we
One
take a
more.
bow?
Maggie says, I fractured a rib.
Oh.
What does the family have to say about that?
Oh, is it painful, darling? I've had bruised ribs. I've had cracked ribs. Oh boy, it's so painful. You know, Maggie, when it's most painful is when you try to breathe in. Oh, isn't that excruciating pain? We're putting you on our healing list, my darling. Feel better, please.
That's it, Rosemary.
All right, well, that's it. Thank you, Chris, once again for your brilliant dealing all of this. And I know it's not easy to work the chat room. I'd like to thank all of you out there who joined us tonight. It was certainly off the cuff. It was certainly a surprise. It was certainly, oh, what is she doing? Is she here? Is she on? Yes, we're here. We're on. So thank you to all of you for watching. Thank you especially to Great Eagle for all of his help and his input during our off the cuff stuff. And please, everyone, where are we? It's Tuesday, so we should be popping in and out. We might even be doing this again tomorrow. You never know. At a different time, perhaps, but you never know. We're going to be popping in and out. Don't forget, on Thursday morning, we should be doing our The Spirit World Sees All, and that will be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is, for those of you who don't know, New York time. And so that's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will probably, we'll be having a story time on Saturday. I think so, Chris, won't we?
Yes. Yes.
We'll be doing all sorts of things. So keep posted. Go on the website. Don't forget to subscribe, because that'll get you your newsletter, which is about to go out in the next few days, right, Chris?
Yes.
July's newsletter any time now is going to be going out. You'll hear from us about what we're up to. Don't forget to check out our webinars. They are, just go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com. If you need to email us for any reason, email Chris, KRIS, at rosemaryaltea.com. If you choose to email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, that works as well. But Chris deals with the emails, so it just makes more sense to email her. Don't be afraid to bypass me. I get all of the emails. I know what's happening. Chris is brilliant at doing her job. So we sort of, I keep updating. I keep updates on all of you who write to us. So, all right. In the meantime, that's it for now, folks. In the meantime, please, 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 all of you have a very blessed rest of the day or the next day or whatever it is. We shall be back with you soon. Please keep checking us out. If you can't manage to check us out tomorrow, we'll be back on Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Thanks, everybody.